What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our SEC football channel. In this video, we're going to preview the Georgia Bulldogs roster on NCAA Football 21, which of course is NCAA Football 14, but these are the updated rosters for the upcoming 2020 college football season. And if you'd like to get these rosters, if you'd like to play with this Georgia team, you can play today. Just join us on Patreon. The link for that is in the description of this video and in the description of every video here. You can get lots of other things on our Patreon as well, and it's only $5 a month to get all of the updated rosters. I mean, think about that. You spend more money than that if you go eat somewhere one time, and that's all you got to pay. $5 a month, you get the updated rosters. And not only will you get these rosters, you'll help us be able to complete them faster, because the more support we have on Patreon, the more time we'll be able to put into these rosters, and the faster we will be able to complete all of the teams in college football. So if you'd like to join, please do so. Get other things as well on Patreon. You can read all about it. Again, just click on that link down in the description below. Before we get into the roster preview, just wanted to quickly tell you how all of you can help out with these rosters and help us to make them as accurate as possible. If there are number changes for players, if there are incorrect years that you see on this roster, please let us know. Some of these rosters we started doing back before even the spring rosters had been released, so some of the freshmen didn't have numbers yet, and we're just going to go back and do those later. Or maybe some players changed their numbers. Maybe a guy got redshirted last year and we missed that, and we've got him as a senior and actually they're a redshirt junior or something along those lines. So if you see any of that, you can help us out there. Also, players that are no longer on the roster, maybe players that transferred, that we had not taken off yet, you can remind us of those players, which of course I'm always checking the transfer portal. I'll come back and get that anyways, but it would just help out if something is put out there for us to make sure we don't miss it. A player that maybe has transferred, or a player that is not really expected to play much, not really on the two deep. If they're an upperclassman, we'll probably take those guys off the rosters and just tell us who you think they should be replaced with. Who do you think should be on this roster that is not? If it's a young player, a freshman, maybe they don't play, but they're still going to stay on the roster because you got to have those young players. The ratings are pretty much set, though. We have a specific formula that we use that's based off of a bunch of different numbers, stats. We use NFL Draft Scout for 40 times. If a player's not on there, we use their recruiting rating. A lot of different things. I'm not going to get into all of that, but those are pretty much set. You can make suggestions if you think a guy should go up or down if you'd like, but they're probably not going to change, at least until the depth charts come out, because at that point we will make some adjustments. We're not going to have a backup running back rated higher than a starting running back. Obviously that would make no sense, so there could be a little bit of adjustments there. Also, when the all-conference, all-American teams are announced, we may tweak some players in those cases as well, but for the most part, it's all based off of this formula. Heights and weights, don't worry about that. We will come back and we will get all of those when the fall rosters are released, because those numbers can change anyway, so there's no point in trying to update that and then it changes again. So we'll knock that out once the fall rosters come out. But if you have any help here, if you guys follow your team closer than anyone. If this is your team, you probably know a little bit more about them than I do, and maybe you know some things that I just have missed or whatever. You can help us make these rosters as accurate as possible by giving us this information. I'll be constantly coming back and checking these comments. When I see something that jumps out, I'll make a note, and when I get back on that team, I will make the adjustments. And you will, again, have a chance to get these rosters, even if you don't join us on Patreon. Of course, if you join us on Patreon, you can get these rosters right now. You can get all the updates, and I really would encourage you to do that just to help us to kind of speed up this process with a little bit of funding. But if you can't, that's fine. We will probably, more than likely, we're going to release these rosters once they're complete. So it may be August or whatever, but we will give them out for free at some point. And also, you can just help us to make sure our simulations are as accurate as possible as we begin to ramp those up as well. But if you have any information here, please feel free to comment down below and give us any updates that we need to make. Here are the top players for the Georgia Bulldogs, a team that has the highest rated defense on the game in the SEC. And may wind up with the highest rated defense in the country. I think in real life they probably will have the best defense, but their top player is actually on the offensive side, on the offensive line. Trey Hill is a 96 overall. Richard LeCount is a 95. He is a stat stuffer. I mean, you look at his numbers. Again, these ratings are based off of stats, and when you look at everything that he brings to the table, tackles for loss, the sacks, the interceptions, the pass breakups, the fumble recoveries, forced fumbles. You look at his career, I mean, he's just all over the football field, always around the football, and I think that's probably a big reason why his overall rating is 95. And you got another great offensive lineman there, Ben Cleveland, a 90. So 2 of their top 3 players are actually on the offensive line. Monty Rice is a 90 overall at middle linebacker. Mark Webb, a 90 at safety. George Pickens, 89 overall wide receiver. Jamari Slayer, an 89 on the offensive line. Another offensive lineman up here. Trayvon Walker, defensive end, 88. And then you've got Tyson Campbell and Eric Stokes at cornerback. Both guys are 88 overall. So these are the top players for this Georgia team. Let's go position by position now, and we'll go to the quarterback position. I think a lot of people probably wondering, where will Jamie Newman be? Well, he is an 86 overall dual threat quarterback. I think could have a really good year for Georgia next season. You've also got Stetson Bennett. He is a 74 overall, and then Carson Beck, the freshman, he is a 74 as well. Zamir White, the top running back on this roster. He is an 87 overall. Also, James Cook, a little bit more speed. He's an 83 overall. Kendall Milton, a freshman, 80 overall. Kenny McIntosh, sophomore, 79. And then Edwards is a 75 overall. So, again, they have plenty of talent in the backfield. White and Cook, I think, will carry the majority of the loads of this Bulldog team. Wide receivers, again, Pickens an 89, very talented player. Demetrius Robertson hasn't really made a huge impact for Georgia. He's got a lot of speed. I think he's got some skill sets that they should be using, and we'll see if he does more this year. But he is an 84 overall, mostly because of his speed. Arian Smith, a freshman, 83 overall. That is as high as it gets. 83 is the highest rating we have for freshmen, at least at this point, before the depth charts are released. Rosemead is an 82 overall, another freshman. They're going to depend on some young players. Dominic Blaylock, an 81. Karis Jackson, a 79. Then you got Tommy Bush, a 77. Trey Blunt, 74. Matt Landers, also a 74. So those are the wide receivers. Again, they're really going to depend on some young guys to help out in that passing game. Tight ends, you got Trey McKitty, the transfer from Florida State. He is an 83 overall. Darnell Washington, an 80. John Fitzpatrick, an 80, and then Ryan Goad, a redshirt freshman, a 79 overall. Offensive line, again, very strong. Broderick Jones, a true freshman, 82 overall. We are expecting him to start right away and be the highest rated player here at left tackle. Xavier Truss, 75, and then Condon, a 72. There's Schaefer again, an 82, and Clay Webb, 81. That's very high for a backup offensive lineman to be over 80 is impressive, and they actually do that twice. Trey Hill, 96, their top-rated player, and then Van Pran, he's an 84 overall as a true freshman, and actually we do have a freshman at 84, so I guess 84 is actually the highest rating. Some players, you know, if they're a .99, which is as high as it gets on 24/7, that's an 84 in some positions, an 83 in some, and an 82 in others. It just depends on the position with the scale that we use. You got Ben Cleveland there. He's a 90. Showed him earlier. Slayer, an 89. Showed him earlier. Ratledge, 81. And Lindbergh is 76. So you see the depth here on this offensive line. It's just unreal. Georgia is just, recruiting-wise, them and Alabama, they've just out-recruited everyone else. It's just insane. Trayvon Walker, defensive end, an 88. And then Walthour, a 68. And I apologize if I say some of these names wrong. Malik Herring is an 85. White, an 80. Maybe not quite as good on the defensive line as they have been in the past. We'll see. Jordan Davis, actually, you look in the middle, and they're pretty solid. Jordan Davis, an 86. Rochester, an 84. Carter, an 83. He's a true freshman, another true freshman, rated really high. And then Brinson, a 73. Linebacker, you got Nolan Smith, an 86. Adam Anderson, 82. Sherman, 81. Grant, a 75. Again, depth is so impressive for this team. Monty Rice, we showed you, a 90. You got Quay Walker, an 84. N'Kobe Dean, 84. Tyndall, a 79. McBride, 76. Right outside linebacker, Ojulari, an 83. There is Jermaine Johnson, an 83 as well, and Robert Bill Jr., 77. Once again, that's the story of this Georgia team. Not only do they have talent, but they have so much depth. They've recruited so well, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, they got a lot coming back, and that's why I think they do have the best defense coming into this season. Going to the cornerbacks now. Again, Campbell and Stokes are 88 overall. There's DJ Daniel, he's an 86. Tyreek Stevenson, an 85. Kelly Ringo, true freshman, and he's an 82. So you've got 5 cornerbacks over 80. Kimber is a 78, and then Poole a 74. Safeties, LeCount, talked about him earlier, 95. Also, Debad Wilson, an 87, and Burns, a 74. Also, Mark Webb, a 90. Lewis Sine, an 87. Or Scene, again, sorry if I say the names wrong. I should know some of these names, but it's been a while since I've watched football. And I don't mean like years. I mean since the season ended, obviously. There you go. Christopher Smith, a 72. And then Zirkle, a kicker. He's a freshman. He's going to be a 78. And the punter, Camarda, is an 80 overall. So those are the ratings for the Georgia Bulldogs. Again, if you see something that looks wrong, if the numbers need changing, if a player's year is wrong, maybe a player that I've got rated really low is going to be much higher on the depth chart. It's whatever you see that needs to be fixed. I want to count on you guys to make these rosters as accurate as possible. Again, you follow these teams. If it's your team, you follow them closer than anyone else. And so you're going to have the best information out there, and maybe you'll find something that I did not. But that is going to do it for Georgia. Again, your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports YouTube channel.